Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Sharonda Irvin. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with art, loves, fashion. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I am your host, Sharonda Irving, and this is the lockdown edition, week 2 lockdown edition of Art Loves Fashion, where we talk about all things beautiful and creative. And my goal at the end of every show is for you to be able to walk away learning something new, being inspired to try something new, or going to research and find out about something new. So today I have an amazing, amazing guest. Her name is Rochelle Wilson, and I'm going to give her a fantastic, proper introduction. But first, I want to tell you, you guys, if you follow me on Instagram or you know me in real life or you've ever watched the show, I look quite different today. So let me just put that out there up front. My look today is inspired by what I'm going to be talking about for fashion, for the fashion segment. I'm a little hot, so I'm going to try to keep it going. But yeah, I kind of am liking this little look. Y'all have to go on social media and tell me what you guys think. This is my mermaid look, and it is inspired by Japanese street style, and we'll be talking a little bit about that at the end of the show. And you guys know, normally when I have a guest, I like to bring the guest on up front and let their segment lead our show off. So without further ado, my friend, my family, her name is Rochelle Wilson. She does a lot of things. She has a lot of titles, but her main titles are, I would say, you know what? I'm gonna allow you to introduce yourself because I had it down, but then I started thinking about all the amazing things that you do, Rochelle, and I got a little bit. How about this? I'm gonna allow Rochelle Wilson to introduce herself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll talk a little bit about what the subject is for today.
Awesome. So Sharonda, thank you so much for just allowing me to share your space this good Sunday evening. I am just so excited, just really excited. So again, my name is Rochelle Wilson. I am an author, educator, and entrepreneur. Some have tagged me with the title of serial entrepreneur because I have so many side hustles that really allowed me to get into a space where I kind of advocate for the power of multiple streams of income. I am also a pastor's wife, so I'm married to Ishmael Wilson, who is the founder and overseer of Another Level Church in Capitol Heights, Maryland, and we have 5 children together. We are both native Washingtonians, and he and I do business coaching together, and I do education consulting because I spent 23 years in education. And lastly, we both own Fresh Dry Cleaners, which is a boutique style dry cleaning chain throughout the DMV. We have 4 locations, 3 in Hyattsville and 1 downtown DC. So we are just ministers of the gospel. We are entrepreneurs, but more importantly, we are people that really believe in paying it forward and personally developing folks. So Sharonda is family. I love her. I love her expertise and her body of work. So I'm just excited to be with you today.
Yes, thank you so much. You know what? Listen, did y'all hear all of that? Right. So there was no way that I was going to be able to give my sister justice by trying to do that introduction without having a paper. And I didn't write everything down because at the show I try to keep everything as organic as possible so we can have a great time and flow. And so the show, again, you guys know, is art, love, and fashion. And under the umbrella of love, I kind of talk about a lot of things. I feature a lot of people who love what they do, or they have a particular expertise in some form of love. But today, I asked Rochelle to come and talk from put her pastor hat on, or her ministry hat on, a little bit of ministry, but just real life and sort of um, human side of things, and talk about agape love. And one of the things I was saying in our conversation was that I realized that I thought that I knew what agape love meant, but after having the conversation, I realized I didn't really know. And so I asked Rochelle to come on to talk about it, because I think that in this time, this is something that is we really need to like up our game on. Not only, well, I'll let you kind of talk. Why is it important for us to understand what agape love is, and how do we up our game on agape?
That is so great. And it was great that you actually asked me to talk about love, not because I feel like I'm a love specialist, but it's really great to, be able to have, my ministry hat on, but also when you and I talked, we talked about just the real side of love. And when we talk about, agape love, I mean, it is just a Greek word for love. The love that is really inspired and started by Jesus Christ. I mean, it is the love that comes from Jesus. It is this idea of this selfless, unwaveringly, unconditional love that Christ has for us. And I think a lot of us, we struggle with that because we don't understand where that love comes from. And so when we talked on Friday, just to talk about what we would talk about on the show, we talked about how are people going to really love while they're in a quarantine mode, because we know that when we talk about agape love, it's unconditional, right? And so in order to have unconditional love for someone else, I got to actually have that unconditional love for ourselves. And I think the point that I want to drive home today is that Jesus Christ loves us all, right? And it doesn't matter what we look like, our color, if we have a wig on, if we have red lipstick on, if we don't have anything on, he loves us, right? He loves Sharonda right now where she is. He loves me, right? And it's the kind of love that when you think about it from a very low perspective, Sharonda, it is love without conditions.
Yes.
Right. When I was thinking about how to really simplify this, really to make sure that I'm reaching everyone that could be, zooming in or on IG or Facebook, it is love that's unconditional.
And and one of the things that you talked about with that, the love that is unconditional, I think that, and I want to make sure that this is something that, depending on whatever names that you want to call your creator, whatever spirit
Yes.
power, a higher power that you pray to, or all that, it's a universal principle.
It's universal.
The idea of unconditional love was one of the things that we really got into, especially when you are in the house and you're trying to figure out how to work it out. And
Yes.
unconditional love, like meaning just because you keep leaving the top off the toothpaste, I
Yeah.
still love you anyway.
I'm gonna love you anyway. And I think it was funny because as I heard, I don't know how I forgot that my husband wrote this amazing book called Prescriptions for Your Situation, which this is not a pitch for his book. It was actually a resource that I used. I was like, oh my God, he has a book that is amazing. And he has a section in here about love because it's really faith, family, finances, and love. And when you talked about that unconditional love, I want to share a part of this book that really blessed me because he talked about a couple in his book. He said about 5 years ago, I remember seeing a movie about this young couple who fell in love and got married. Shortly after marriage, they started a family and lived an inseparable life. The kids got older and it was just them again. But something happened. Life changed. The wife developed dementia. Her mind would go for a while and her husband would come to the nursing home every day to read their love story to her until her mind came back. Well, towards the end of her life, she laid in bed very sick at this point. Then her husband, who loved his wife even through all of this, came into the room with her and they died together in each other's arms. It was a story that defined love. It defined unconditional love. And he said, after all the good that their life had produced, when bad showed up, he remained committed to the love that he had for her from the beginning. And the Bible tells us that before we are formed in our mother's womb, he knew who we were, and he knew who we would be. And so the reality of the matter is, God knew that I was going to be what I am right now. And so when I made mistakes, when I got it right, that love never changed. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what people don't understand, that even when we make mistakes, God still loves us. So when we're in marriages and when we're at home, if the husband doesn't put the toilet seat down, we still have to love, because that love is unconditional. He commands us to love. That love is unconditional. And that love comes when we do right and when we do wrong.
You know, it's, interestingly, I think that one of the things is, we kind of make jokes and we say like, oh, you didn't put the toothpaste on the on the cap on the toothpaste, you didn't put the toilet seat down. But I think that, because we kind of make light of it, but I think the point that was so important to me was this idea of, you said, who I am right now, like regardless of the bad, the mistakes, the ugly, the beautiful, when I get it right and when I don't get it right, it is love anyway.
Yes.
And I think that was like the piece that as a family member, I'll say that, because all of us, we have different relationships and family structures, and whether it is you are in a marriage relationship, whether you are in a parental relationship, a sibling relationship, or you just got a roommate right now. Mm-hmm. This concept of agape love is so important right now.
It's so important. It's so important. And not to really get deep. And again, as you said, for those of you, whoever you worship, whoever your higher power is, the reality of the matter is it starts with love. And 1 John 4:8 says, whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. So for me, being a believer, right, that scripture becomes a driving force for me. Because if I say I love God, if I say that I have transitioned from being an unbeliever to a believer, it's going to come with that love. And so if I can't love my neighbor, if I can't love my husband, then maybe I don't love the God that I say I love, because he is love. And so this love, this idea of loving grounds me, because it gets me always to a place where I have to self-reflect. Mm-hmm. And really figure out what is happening with me, and taking me back to the very beginning from where my relationship with the Father started at.
So now let me ask you this. How, and this may be too big of a question or trying to put it into a box, where do we start? Or what does that look like on a day-to-day basis?
It's interesting that you said that, because, I wanted to share some tips for loving while we're in this state. And the first thing that I wanted to share was love yourself. It starts with you. Mm-hmm. In order for us to even begin this process of loving someone else, we got to love on ourselves. So while we're in quarantine, love on yourself. Mm-hmm. Appreciate yourself. This idea of self-love is not really about, self-care, because I think a lot of times self-love and self-care sometimes go hand in hand, and that's really not the case, right? I gave myself a manicure yesterday. That was self-care, but it didn't mean that I loved Rochelle. I still could have struggled with just loving myself and having appreciation for myself, right? Love is forgiveness. Do I forgive myself? Right? Because if I can't forgive myself, I can't forgive someone else. So it starts with just loving yourself. When you take that wig off, when I take my wig off, when I take this jacket off, do I just love who I am? And of course, we have a lot of things that can make that a challenge. And that's why whoever your higher power is, your source, you got to go back to that so that you can get fed spiritually, so that you can be built up.
Right. And so, and I guess, and I think the thing that was always the thing that I tried to remember was that, if you're having a difficulty loving yourself, if you understand that your creator loves you and you get grace from your creator, then you always have a fresh page to start from. And if you can start from that fresh page, you can give yourself, because you have been given grace.
And that's agape love. Like the love is built, it's almost like it's a fixed fight. The love that comes from Jesus is built with the buffers. The buffers that say, I know you're going to do wrong. I know you may make mistakes, right? And just think about if you were in a marriage that really on a day-to-day basis that agape love was rooted, right? You could make a mistake and your husband or your wife would just be like, baby, I love you and I'm going to love you through this. But a lot of times our emotions trump love, right? The anger emotion, right? The confusing emotion, the depressed, these different types of emotions get in the way sometimes of our ability to love. And
Right.
that's why you got to go back to self, right? Figuring out what's going on with you, right? What is blocking me from just being in the pure state of saying, you know what, that really made me angry, but I love you because there's something that caused you to do that thing. There's a reason why you're not connecting. There's a reason why you can't open up. And so I'm going to give you the grace because the grace was extended. A lot of times people are like, why should I do that? Because they deserve this. Well, we extend grace because God's grace was extended to us. So at the end of the day, even if somebody wrongs you, that's the thing that helps me so much, Sharonda. If I'm struggling in relationships with family and even friends and maybe business relationships and work relationships, I have to extend grace because grace was extended to me.
How about that?
How about that?
That right there, that sentence in and of itself can go so far.
Yeah.
I have to extend grace because grace was extended to me. I think about that, like you said, I think about that in work circumstances. We've always all have been in circumstances at work where we did not do our best or we did not show up as our best, or that somebody
Mm-hmm.
hook up to get us to another place in our careers.
Yes.
And we're like, you know what? I better extend that grace to someone else because it was extended to me. Or,
That's so good.
piss you off, excuse my language, your kids make you and you want to go in on them, but then you know what, especially with these teenagers, you better stop and think, like, you know what? I've been there and somebody extended grace to me. And so I need to extend this grace to my child. That doesn't mean I don't teach them and give them some level of discipline, but I can get past the anger, like you said.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That
So
helps me so much.
yeah. So start with loving yourself,
Yeah.
understand the grace that was extended to you, and then what?
Reflect on the entire matter, right? So, what has you in a position where you can't love, or just even reflecting on where we are right now, right? My inability or ability to love is causing an opportunity for me to reflect, like what is really happening now that may make me a little bit more emotional. It's probably because I'm spending more time in the house, right? Because I really think that people are now forced to address the elephants in the home, not in the room, in
Yeah.
the home,
Yeah.
no matter what the circumstances are. And so just reflecting, thinking about who you are, thinking about the past and those barriers. I think a reflective person is a healthy person. I mean, you and I, we are educators and we talk about really wanting to get teachers to be engaged in reflective practice,
Yeah.
right? Reflecting on your practice, right? If 28 kids out of 29 don't get the concept, you got to reflect and figure out what happened. It's not the fact that the students didn't get it. Maybe you as the practitioner didn't deliver appropriately.
Yeah.
So I think when you are constantly reflecting, thinking about it, and I think also when you reflect, just think about this. If you're in a home and everyone is frustrated today, right? This could be day number 16 or 17 for someone in quarantine, reflecting on maybe they're having a struggle.
Yeah.
Like maybe the person that is an extrovert is having a challenging time because they can't hug a lot of people. And so that reflection, right, allows you, to extend grace.
Uh-huh.
So reflection is so healthy.
Yeah. That, you know what, it's funny that you use that as an example because, I am extrovert, I'm loud, I'm like going just causing a ruckus. And, my family, my husband and my daughter, they have moments where they need solitude and they need alone time and they need, and I'm like, what? Here I am, and I have to, and I'm like, why isn't anybody responding to me? And
Yeah.
I need to sit down and reflect that everybody's not like you.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's what makes it beautiful. Go sit down somewhere, or go be loud and making noise in another part.
In another part of the house, in the room, right? And reflect on ways that you can actually still be yourself while you give them the space that they need.
Uh-huh.
Right? Because reflection could be, I'm just thinking, I'm meditating. You could be getting ideas. And now instead of, messing with them, you're doing your little lives and you're channeling that energy someplace else.
I'm in the room making noise. What are you doing? Listen, I was trying to give y'all space. I'm in here organizing shoes and,
Yes.
and pulling out stuff and
totally
into my own mess.
Totally.
That's a good one right there, reflecting.
Yeah.
And that one is not easy for everyone. So
I know.
That's one might be where some people pause at.
I think a lot of people are stuck here.
Mm-hmm.
And my prayer is that by the time we end this, right, technically we have the date of April 27th, 28th, when we can kind of go back to our normal routine. But hopefully by the time we get there, people have moved past reflection, right? Because number 2 says, I may have to sit down and be still somewhere. Mm-hmm. And for the busy people, right, I'm defined by being busy. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I'm usually not the one that would have time to reflect. Yeah, I'm gonna pray and do all of that. But reflection is just taking a pause and thinking back, right? Yes. And maybe I don't even have the time to think back the way I need to think back. Right? Maybe I don't have the time to go all the way back 20 years. But you got 6 weeks now. You can make it you can make it back to when you were 15 and 14 mm-hmm. by the time we get out of this quarantine. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you'll have the time.
Yeah. And you're busy. It's funny because you are a busy lady. So I'm like, whoo. For some people, it doesn't look like that. Having to not do is a challenge for some people.
Yeah.
They thrive on moving around and being helpful. Sometimes, it's not a thing of like just being busy for busy sake. People are philanthropists and helpers and doers.
Yes.
And a lot of people are still doing those things, but you wind up having a little bit more time than what you are normally used to. So you sit down, so you think about the grace, you sit down, you reflect, and then you come out and you like, okay, guys, I got it. We are back on the same page.
Yes.
Is that what we do then?
No, step 3, actually that could be a good tie-in, because step 3 is tip 3 is be kind to yourself. Okay. So after you have loved on yourself, and that could be a struggle because you have been in a place where you've been defined by the words of others. Mm-hmm. And maybe those words have not been so affirming, right? Mm-hmm. And so positive. And now you got to think on those things. Now you come out of that and you're just kind to yourself. And I thought about that because I'm really big on motivation. So I'm big on visuals. And so for me, someone who's busy, I built these things in. So the quarantine for me was not a sudden like, oh, now you're forced to pause. Even in my busyness, reflection is so important for me. So it could be that I took an extra 20 minutes to drive home so that I could do that. Because I think, and even in the busyness, you have to pause. But you got to be kind. My boutique, I didn't even talk about being a boutique owner. We have these cool motivational candles. This one says, be kind to yourself.
I like that.
Be kind to yourself. And I think a lot of times when we go through these processes and we're having, an aha moment, it could condemn us, right? Or as a believer, we are just convicted. We're not condemned after we cross over and we transition and we become, a believer. But we can be so convicted by the ill feelings, or how can I not love that person? They were going through that. Be kind to yourself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Say hello to yourself. Be mm-hmm. nice to yourself. Mm-hmm. Affirm yourself.
Yes.
And that allows you, right? Your ability to be kind to yourself gives you the ability to be kind to someone else. Because a lot of times when we can't affirm ourselves and we're not kind to ourselves, we put the pressure on someone else. Mm-hmm. So now you need to make me happy. You got to treat me nice. I've already taken care of Rochelle, right? So anybody else being kind to Rochelle is icing on the cake. That's the whole concept. And it ties back to loving yourself. And then you want to understand, I put this in the middle because I think it keeps you centered and grounded throughout this. You want to understand where the love comes from. It's not something that you're generating. This is love that Christ has for all of us. So you can always get replenished, right? You just need to know, like, it comes from Jesus. Agape is the Greek word for love. God is love, right? And Christ loves us. God so loved the world that he gave his only son. He loved all of us. And every time we think about Jesus, we got to think about the magnitude of love that God had for us. What an awesome gift would that be? Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody that would give up their child for anything willingly, right? So you get to a place where you understand where that love comes from. And then number 5, you got to forgive, right? And the forgiveness, we talked about that a little earlier. The forgiveness, it opens the door for you to love and for you to keep on loving. The forgiveness will keep the door open for you to love. Because a lot of times a barrier to your ability to love is forgiveness. And sometimes it's not even the person that you're not forgiving. It's unforgiveness that you have for someone else. And now it's like an artery. It's like unforgiveness is like a cancer, right? It makes your soul and your emotions stick to the core, right? Believe it or not, loving and forgiving are some of the 2 freest emotions that you could ever experience and feel. So you forgive. And then the last thing you do is, in this quarantine, I'm going to say you want to reset personally. Mm-hmm. So after you've loved on yourself, reflect, be kind to yourself and others, love, understand where the love comes from, forgive, and then reset. Through all of this, whether you reset first, right? You've got to reset personally. I've been thinking about this concept, Sharonda, around character over crisis. And I think we're going to see the true character of individuals throughout this time. Yeah. People are going to rise to the occasion, or they're going to cave in. Yeah. Right? You're going to really see the people that really love you. You're going to really see the people that don't. Right? Because when we talk about this love doesn't have conditions or contingencies. I'm also a real estate agent, and a lot of times we'll have a deal that may have contingencies. That means that I don't want to sell, I don't want to buy unless. That's not how God deals with us, right? And so when you reset during this time, you're going to really figure out who you are. And in the reset, you may need some character development.
How about that?
Yes.
So what I'm hearing, and I think for me, there's so many takeaways in this, and I would encourage people, because I do have the live going. So if you're watching it through WLVS, you might see me looking off to the side. I have the live going, but one of the things that someone on live is saying, oh my goodness, I need a copy of this. So I do want to encourage people to go back and watch this again. It'll be on YouTube later. But the thing that is really, there's so many points that are resonating with me. But the biggest thing that I'm hearing is that there is some real self-work that you have to do in order to continue to love.
Yes.
People. And this idea of unconditional love works both ways. It works on the inside of you as well as on the other people that you're around.
Yes.
And that's where it's difficult. But I think that if you continuously remind yourself that it has to be unconditional.
Yes.
Okay.
Unconditional.
Messed up. Okay, but I still love you anyway. Talking about me and talking about you.
Selfless.
You know, all right, I didn't get it right today. Yes. I still love me and I still love you.
Yes. We didn't get it right today, and that's okay.
And then reset.
And reset.
And let folk off the hook.
Yes.
Don't be holding on. That reset means don't be holding on to it the next day. Let the person off the hook. Let yourself off the hook.
Yes.
You can't carry it over to the next day.
That's so good. That's so good. And I have a bonus tip. Tip number 7 is be grateful. Gratitude releases you emotionally to love and to embrace love. Right? When we're thinking about this quarantine, so many people are dealing with anxiety. They're just, they have so many things that are just the unknown, right? But find 1 or 2 things that you can be grateful for. Like that husband, right? That gets on your nerves, but he's providing during this time. Baby, I love you to pieces, right? I'm grateful, right? This 1-bedroom apartment that I have it, right? My landlord that's giving me an extension, I'm grateful, right? And in that reset, just exhibit some gratitude, because gratitude is going to just open you up emotionally.
Absolutely. Look, I was telling my friends, we had our girls Zoom day the other day. I told them that I had been wanting a deep freezer. And I had been procrastinating. And then when all of this started happening, I started putting the pressure on my husband. And I was like, babe, we need this deep freezer. Now, Look, and I hope he's watching it because I have been wanting it for a while and I have been procrastinating, but now it was an emergency. So I'm saying,
Yeah.
hey. And he made a way and he found us, he got us a deep freezer. We had to tap into some of our resources. You know, you can't get a deep freezer.
Listen, no.
My friends, I was so grateful. I took a picture of it. I said, oh my goodness. The love. I was
right,
like,
the love. But that helps.
What is deep freezer? Hear me?
That helps, right? That helps. I mean, you know, I'm just so grateful. I was telling someone the other day, like for me, the whole new normal transition from, you know, a full-time job, right? You know me, education, working my way to the top and making six figures and wrote a book about it and all of that, to being a full-time entrepreneur, supporting my family with my husband and trusting that everything is going to be all right. And God has really provided, because the spirit of gratitude lives on the inside of me every single day, right? Without businesses, if it's one person that comes in, you know, like Scotty came in the other day, being grateful for the one, because you never know what God may do with the one or two or three, and not focusing on the masses. Sometimes we allow social media to put this unnecessary pressure on us, right? Mm-hmm. If you sold one thing and you're an entrepreneur, you should be grateful. Right? If you have a job that is giving you leave, you should be grateful, right? If you don't even have COVID-19 now, you should just say, thank God I don't have it, right? And sometimes we're focused on what's up here that we can't even think about what's down here. Mm-hmm. So gratitude opens you up, Sharonda.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one. Listen, this is what we're going to do.
I'm going to get these tips out to your team. I'm going to send you a little one pager so you get it out to your audience.
I want everybody to grab a pencil real quick, because we're going to say the 7 tips again real quick. Because let me see. I don't remember all of them in order.
I got them.
I know. Let me see. I'm going to try to quiz myself. So the first one.
That's the teacher in you.
Right. I have to check for understanding.
Right. Don't do that to me. No, you will
not. Okay. Tip number 1. I don't think I know them in order. I do know that you need to know the source of, I know that you need to know the source of love.
Yes. Yes.
Right? I know you need to understand and remember grace, extend grace, because grace is given to you. And she's over there checking, y'all. She's giving me, I got a smiley face for number 3. I got a smiling face for number 5. Okay, I know that I need to reflect.
Yes.
I know that I need to reset. I know that I need to love myself. And I know that how many did I say?
You missing one more. Begins with the letter F.
And I need to forgive.
Yes.
I need to forgive.
Yes.
And yeah. It wasn't in the right order, but I got it. And Rochelle,
that's okay.
That's okay. And we're going to post it, because we want people to know these things and to practice these things. And again, the topic, if you came in a little bit late, the topic is agape love. And Rochelle explained to us that agape love means unconditional love. It means that it is without condition. It is without reservation. It is not based on what someone else has done for you. It's not on how you feel even.
Yes.
It is because it is, and it is because God gave us that unconditional love, and it's our duty as human beings, as believers, as people who occupy space in this universe, is our duty to do the same.
Well said. Love it. Yes.
Time and space. If you are confined with someone, even if it's just yourself, you ought to get into that space, because that's the only way you're going to be able to make it out.
Yes.
Make it out whole.
Yes.
How about that?
Okay. How about that? Yes. I love it. This is good. This is good.
And so, you know what? And I'm going to tell everybody now, I have already tried to impress upon Rochelle that I want her to come back, because this conversation extended into so many different areas. And I believe that there are some other avenues. We already know, we explored some other avenues through this love that we know for sure that people want to talk about and that we want to bring to our audiences. And so she's going to be back, you guys.
Yeah, totally.
She's going to be back. And we have some exciting content. And what I would like to encourage is, if you watched it, if you're on her network or my network, hit us up. Let us know what you think.
Yes. Follow me. Let me know how I can help.
Let us know your reflections. Let us know what were your takeaways, because I'm always looking for feedback so that we know what to bring to the audience. Okay? And so with that, I'm going to make a transition. I'm going to ask Rochelle if she has the time, she can stay. I would love for her to stay on with me.
I'll stay on. Yes, sure.
You know, and I know we're all working from home, and so we know family members are also lurking in the background and may need us. And so if she has to go,
no, I'm good. I got this time blocked off.
Yay! Good, good. Tell Pastor Ishmael we said thank you. And tell the children we
said yes. I just got to charge up, but I'm good to go.
So our next segment is the hands-on segment, and I've got quite a few people who were waiting for this segment. Rochelle, I think you took care of your business. You said the day before.
I did it yesterday. I did a good job too.
Let me see.
Wait a minute, can you see? Oh yeah, I soaked off, I buffed and everything. Yes, because you know I have that. So I said I got to try my nail polish.
Yes, there you go. Now's the time.
Yes.
So here is the next segment, and this is technically, this would be that was our love segment. This technically would be our art segment. Now we all love our nails and our nail enhancements, and I'm going to make the stretch into art because nail artistry is truly an art. And those of you who are now forced to figure out and contend with your own nails without your professionals truly get to understand what an art is. And so I have been looking at social media. I have been getting phone calls. I have been getting text messages saying, sis, what do I do with these nails? Now, those of you who know me, or maybe some of you may not know, I am and was a licensed nail technician for over 20 years. I was doing nails full-time in salons before I started working as an educator. Doing nails is what took me through my college years. And so I still continue to practice that art, and I still continue to work on a few people. I'm a teenager, she won't not do that. And so I've been seeing all over social media, what do I do with my nails? And so what I did was I put together a tutorial. I did it through photos because I didn't, I'm still learning the art of all this technology and how I can just drop in a video. Producer Afiba will help me with that next time. But I'm going to walk you through it, but I'm going to walk you through it really quickly because I want to make sure that we get to our fashion segment. And I want you to be able to, you can go back and upload this episode and you can watch it again on YouTube, and you can slow it down and take it step by step. But here's what I want, here's how it goes. And I'm gonna take my jacket off because I'm getting hot. All right. So first things first, what do you need in order to take these nails off? Now, I've gotten text messages from people who have acrylic. I've gotten text messages from people who have gel nail polish. And there are a couple of my friends who have SNS, which is, or what, SNS is the brand name, but like the dip, when they dip the powder and your nails come out nice and hard. How do I get this off? And why is it important that you take it off? It's important that you take it off because as you leave it on, the nail enhancements will start to lift and you'll get cracks in between the enhancement and your natural nail. Water will seep in, bacteria will seep in, you get all kinds of bacteria and fungus going on in your nail, and we don't want that. It's unattractive, and during this time people are washing their hands constantly all day long, and we want to make sure that we are keeping all of our surfaces as clean as possible. So what do you need? You need acetone, which I left it downstairs. Now I'm gonna show you this one. This is not what you need, and that's a bad educator move. You don't show people what it's not. What it is. If you've ever been in the beauty supply store and you see nail polish remover, nail polish remover does just what it says. It removes polish. You want acetone. Acetone removes artificial nail enhancements. And on the screen, you see you got acetone, you got a buffer, you got a buffer block, you got cotton, and you got a nail hardener. So this is what you need. You get a bowl. Now, do not use I don't use a plastic bowl. Some people have used plastic and it'll work, but use like a ceramic bowl, a glass bowl, even a metal bowl. Fill it up. If you got acrylic, fill your bowl up with acetone. And all you're going to do is just sit your nails in there and soak. You can fold up a paper towel, put it in the bottom of the bowl, and as it starts to melt off, you can kind of use the paper towel as friction to rub against the nails to help it to get it off. But if you have gel is a little bit more complicated. With the gel, you're going to take the acetone. You're going to soak your cotton ball in the fever. You can show the photos that I uploaded to you. You're gonna. There's a picture of I did my daughter's toes. The process on the toes is the same exact as the nails, but because I'd taken mine off my nails, I just showed the toes. There's her gel. Then I cut her nails first. And the reason why I cut them first is because that'll help to break up some of the polish. It'll break up some of the acrylic, which will make it easier to come off. Cut it. And then the next step is to soak that's not the right order. So that's okay. Soak the cotton ball in acetone. You put the cotton ball on the nail. You're going to take, there's the acetone. You're going to take the foil. You're going to wrap foil around your nail and the cotton ball and seal it in nice and tight. And it gets a little challenging, a little difficult once you get there. You can see what we're doing. Aww. Once you wrap up the nails, like so, do all your nails. When you get to your other hand, it's going to get a little tricky because you're going to be on your thumb and your index finger or something, and all your nails are going to be wrapped up. Maybe you can get someone at home to do it. If not, you just kind of got to work it out. Wrap it all up. Now, this is where you got to pack your patience. You can't be on the phone. You can't eat. You can't do anything. You may want to start a movie before you get this going, or you may want to get your music together. This might be your reflection moment, right? Because all you're going to be doing is sitting still and letting the acetone do its work. The amount of time that it takes for it to come off really does depend on how much you have on. And to be honest with you, it also will depend on who did your nails. Some places they use products that they mix some other things in the product, and so it doesn't come off that easily. If you find that you've been sitting for a while and your nail enhancement is not coming off, you're going to have to get a file and you're going to have to buff the surface of the nail enhancement. Do this very gently and very carefully, because what you do not want to do is file your natural nail. I know a lot of nail places do that. Depending on where you go, they will file your natural nail, and then you wonder why your nails are sore, why they're paper thin, because you shouldn't be doing that. So file a little bit of the surface of the nail enhancement, wrap that bad boy back up in the foil, and chill. You wait. Okay, then after a while, you open up the foil and the nail enhancement, the gel will start to bubble and crack and lift off of the nail. And if you can see here, you can see what that looks like. Once you do that, and if you notice the skin is a little white, that acetone definitely dehydrates the skin. Your next step is to take an orange wood stick, a cuticle pusher. If you got those little wooden stirrers from the coffee shop, and in a pinch, you could take a plastic knife and scrape it off. If it doesn't all come off, put the foil back on, repeat the process. You keep doing that until you get all of that acrylic, all of that gel off the nail. Next step, after you do all of that, you've gotten it off, or so it appears. Most of the time when you do that scrape, you're getting a lot of the color off. Once it looks clear, go back and do another scrape over the nails, because you have to make sure you get the base coat off. The way that you know that the base coat is still on there is if you rub your nail across the surface of it, it feels a little bumpy and rugged. That means there's still some on. You can scrape it off. You can put the foil, the cotton ball back on it, soak it a little bit more, scrape, scrape, scrape. You've gotten it all off. Now, you've done the biggest thing. You've tackled the biggest hurdle, which is getting it off. But what do you do then? Because now you have your nails are white, the cuticles are white, it looks a mess. And that's not what you were going for. Your next step then is to take your buffer block and your file. You want to file the nails. You want to make a nice smooth shape. I'm partial to square, but depending on what your nails look like, you may have to do a little oval shape. File them in a nice, neat, square shape. Don't get fancy because that's when it gets difficult. You're going to get frustrated. Take your white buffer block. Or if you may have like, sometimes you buy nail kits and they come with something that looks like this. Use what you have, but if it comes with that, you can use that too. Buff the surface of your nail gently. Gently buff the surface of your nail to get it nice and smooth, to get any ridges out, to get any leftover product so that it looks nice and groomed. Once you've done that, you can wash your hands. You take your cuticle pusher, push around the cuticles and around the edge of the nail to get all of that excess product and dry skin from around your nail. The last step, once you've done all of that, once you've buffed it, you have to buff it one more time. Then you do your cuticle oil, you moisturize, and then you are done. I recommend right now, in this time, not to necessarily go back to, don't try to put on your own acrylic unless you already are an experienced professional. You can try to do your toes. You can try to polish your toes if you want. But I recommend going on ahead and just putting clear polish on for two reasons. One, if you had acrylic on your nails, you want to use a nail hardener just to give your hands and your nails an opportunity to breathe, to rebound, to get strong. And then that way you don't have to worry because hopefully you've been washing your hands a lot. Don't worry about the polish because it's going to chip. Put some clear on it and it looks beautiful, groomed, and you're good to go. Some of us have been wearing nail polish on our toes so consistently that we probably don't really know what it looks like to look at our bare toes. And you'll notice that when you take your polish off, your nails may also be just a little yellow. That comes from wearing polish a lot. It'll eventually disappear. If you are bothered by it, you can use a little bit of peroxide. You can use a little bit of lemon juice. If you see any nail discoloration, use a little bit of tea tree oil. All those things will help to correct some of those issues that you may have underlying. So this is what I want you guys to do. You may not have these tools and these products in your home right now. I want you to go over to AD Beauty and Hair. That is my friend Natasha. She is a Black-owned beauty supply store located in Atlanta. She has a nail maintenance kit put together already for you, already packaged, ready to go. So if you don't have it, you don't have to worry about chasing it down at Amazon. Amazon is not the be all end all of going shopping and getting the products that you need. Go to AD Beauty and Hair and she'll send that to you and whatever other things that you need. If you need to work on your edges, she got you. If you want to take this time to get your brows together, which we'll be talking about that in another episode, see her first. And then get those nails off, and then we can talk. If you want more information about that, you know where to hit me up. Again, this is my craft. As some of my former clients, this is my love. This is the thing I really, really love to do. And I'll have Rochelle post a link to her nail polish. So once you get good and you get ready to apply your own polish, Rochelle also has a line of nail polish. What's the name of your nail polish, Rochelle?
Color Me by Rochelle.
Color Me by Rochelle.
Yes, so it's vegan and cruelty free. So yay!
We love that. So if you are ready to polish your nails and want to kind of practice some of that as well, I say get the nail polish from her. Again, we don't have to wait for some of these big box outlets to send us our products. We got what we need in our own community, and we can seek those outlets first. Okay, okay. And again, I always say if you try out something that you've seen on Art Loves Fashion, hit me up. Take a picture of it, post it, tag me, tag Art Loves Fashion, so I can see what you guys are working on, and so I can see if what we're talking about is helpful, is usable, is applicable. Okay. And I would say go back and watch this episode again. You can see the photos of the steps so you can know what to do step by step. Okay. All right. So, our final segment. And you know what, Afiba, we haven't been playing our transition music. I knew how my transitions was feeling a little bit like something's missing. Normally I have a little music, but we're still trying to work it out because we're doing shooting from home. So we'll just jump right into our final segment, and that will give you the explanation about my hair. Rochelle, you like my hair?
I love it. It is absolutely amazing. So you're gonna have to vicarious send me one.
Okay, we're gonna find. I'm gonna have to get Natasha at AD Beauty, see what her wig selection is.
Yeah,
she can curate a wig collection. I know she sells hair. So does Sky. We got Left by Sky Layla, but I know beauty supply stores sometimes sell wigs. So maybe she can get us some fun options while we're at home. We can experiment.
Yes, totally.
But my last segment, which is fashion. Woo, we all have to do a clap for that one, Rochelle.
Yes.
So today's final segment on fashion, I wanted to go ahead and seize the moment. I try to talk about current content. Is about face mask fashion. Listen, the CDC said that everyday civilians, as you're going outside, if you think you're going to come into contact with people and you cannot do social distancing, that a face mask would be helpful. It does not replace social distancing. I want to make sure that I say that as clear as I can. And it does not take the place of washing hands. Okay, so face mask fashion. So you guys, if you follow Japanese street style, which I love, in the Japanese fashion lane, face masks have always been a part of their look. There's always like these different looks that feature face masks. And so, actually, back up a little bit. I want you to show the other photos, Afiba, that I sent to you separately from this one. So I did a little bit of research. Yes, this is cute. So I did a little bit of research because as a lover of Japanese street style, I always was like, what is it? Why do they have one mask? And if you travel sometimes and you see people from different Asian countries, you'll sometimes see people with face masks on. And I always wondered, why did they have on face masks? So I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that this idea of wearing face masks is not new in those countries, and they wear face masks when they are sick as a way of being polite to those people around them. They don't want to make other people sick. So during allergy season, they would be wearing face masks. If they had a cold, they would be wearing face masks. And it wasn't anything that was strange or alarming. And so over time, as that evolved, you would see these edgy street styles, particularly in Harajuku looks. You would see the folks with face masks on. And so that got me to digging, and I wanted to show a couple of inspo photos on what is going on in the Japanese street style, couple of these photos. So just scrolling through those. So as we are noticing an uptick in people wearing face masks, if you go on social media, you see people are learning how to make them and purchasing them. And so how do you wear these face masks, honey, and still give us fashionable looks? I say take a page from our Asian brothers and sisters and how they do. So that was why I had my wig on, because yes, all those hair colors and those face mask colors had me inspired. And so as I was also researching, I came across this designer by the name of Yoon Wan. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but this particular designer started making face masks out of sneakers. This particular designer, they got New Balance for my DC lovers, my DC New Balance lovers. They got Yeezys, they got Jordans, and went so far as to make one out of an IKEA bag, honey. So I want you to not feel like you are confined because you didn't get a chance to get to the store and buy you a face mask. You see that IKEA face mask? You can make it happen.
Jeez.
You got that thing tied up on her bun at the top of her head. And interestingly, so one of the things this is the thing that also that they're noticing in the fashion world is that this is something that has been going on in the Asian street styles, but then like in maybe 2008 and going forward, even in some of the fashion shows in Milan and in some of the high fashion shows, you start to see face masks being incorporated into the runway fashions. And so just because we have to cover our faces and just because we have to be, we must be safe and careful, doesn't mean that we can't be fashionable. And so I want to get to a couple of them that we had that's a little bit more. I'm gonna look her up and see if she's still selling. That's a Virgil Abloh off-white face mask right there. And everybody's into off-white, and we try to feature some of our Black designers and designers of color. So that was one that he put out in collaboration with this particular designer. And what I didn't know was that the company BAPE, BAPE, they have their hoodies zip all the way up the face. Zip up the face hoodie thing was so that you could zip up to like your nose and just have your eyes out. And so, again, for those of you who are trying to figure out why I had on my wig today, ow, okay. I'll make sure my ears are out.
That's so cute. That's so cute.
So this is my ode to. So that's my face mask fashions. Taking a little bit of inspiration from Japanese street style. I got my colorful wig on and my black hat. And I had on a couple layers, but I got hot. Because one of the things about Japanese fashions a lot of times is that they're pretty modest. You don't typically see a lot of skin showing. They do a lot of really big oversized looks and that kind of thing. And so that was I'm gonna have to go outside and get some air. Maybe I'll take a picture and maybe I'll take a picture and post it. But shout out to Perlina Designs on Instagram who did this particular one. So if you are in need of face masks, one of the things about her face mask, she is doing primarily, she started off making them for nurses. And then I guess in order to generate revenue for fabric and that kind of thing, she started to sell them. So she is taking donations as well as selling them. So on IG, Perlina Designs, but I've come across quite a few different people who are doing them. Also Cheryl Lofton, DC, she's also, I have a couple of them that are coming and like, oh, so cute. That I will be taking a couple of pictures and posting. And so, Rochelle, I'll make sure we get you some face masks. And so, listen, what I wanted to close out with, I was supposed to be demonstrating my own nails because they look a mess. I took my gel off. I did the buffing and all of that. But what I want you guys to know is once you take this stuff off, you got to do maintenance. You got to clip them down. You got to file them. You got to keep them nice and smooth so that you are not snagging and making a mess. Because if you've been wearing nail enhancements, they are going to continue to be fragile. They're going to continue to break. Don't get discouraged. Just keep them neat and groomed. And if you purchase the kit, you'll have what you need in order to keep it going. Stay moist, keep your hands moisturized. If you wash your hands a lot, they're gonna get dry. So keep your nails, your cuticles moisturized. You can use olive oil, you can use sweet almond oil, you can use coconut oil if you don't have actual cuticle oil, to keep your nails and your cuticles and your hands in general moisturized. So that's pretty much what we got going on today for Art Loves Fashion. I am so grateful to my friend Rochelle Wilson. She's my friend / cousin. I'm grateful I get to call her and say, hey, she's always so busy. And now I get a chance to call her and say, hey, got a question for you. And so we are happy to be able to have had her with us. I can't see you. Raise your camera up a little bit.
Oh.
Yep. So we are happy to have had her join us today. She will be back. I will be rewatching the episode to write down those tips for agape love. And
I'll send those to you.
Yes, and all of her fabulosity. She named all of the things that she does, but she also is a boutique owner.
Yes.
So she is always welcome to talk about fashion too. We talk about lots and lots and lots of things. So on that note, please follow her at Rochelle Y. Wilson. Follow me at Sharonda Irving on Instagram. And we will see you next week in Art Loves Fashion. In the meantime, stay safe, social distance, wash your hands, stay grateful,
yes,
and love somebody, including yourself. Peace, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Sharonda Irving. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with art, loves, fashion.